It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and I'm really excited about making this video. I'm really excited about drinking this beer. We're talking about Jennings Brewery. This is their Cumberland Ale. When I first started drinking Cumberland Ale, the channel was barely 6 months old. I was given a box of beer from my father for Christmas. He used to be able to buy, like, they were called like the 12 beers of England or something, but really back then I didn't know because I was kind of really new to beer, but I was really excited to get into these beers and drink them. But they were kind of Witchwood beers, Jennings beers, Banks beers, Marstons beers, and they were all from Marstons Brewery. Marstons owned all of those companies, and they simply put a box together, which I think I picked up in Lidl at the time. One of the beers was this beer here. It looks different. It looks different from my original review. If you want to take a look at my original review, it's about 15 years old now. Cumberland Ale back then was in a green glass bottle. Again, brewed by Carlsberg Marstons back then. This beer, the reason why I'm so excited by this is there's a bit of a story. This beer is still a Marstons Brewery beer. Carlsberg Marstons Brewing. A lot's happened in 15 years. Carlsberg Marstons Brewing Company. 4% ABV, 500ml bottle, silvery gold bottle cap. Let's get it out into a glass, see what we get. A couple of years ago, Carlsberg Marstons decided to shut down Jennings Brewery. I live down in South Wales, but I can imagine the reaction to such a heritage brewery, a brewery with such history being shut down. It couldn't have gone down very well with the locals. So what happened next? The brewery did close down, but a group of people got together and bought the rights from Marstons. This was £1 from Home Bargains, and it was kind of like end of line stuff. The beer's in date, but again, it's brewed by Carlsberg Marstons. So there must have been one finger, let's talk about the beer in a moment, one finger ivory head, good levels of carbonation, slightly hazy looking amber coloured beer. So there must have been this kind of like, let's save the brewery, let's get some people together, let's see if there's interest, let's try and save Jennings Brewery. And it happened, here we are. So this is Jennings Cumberland Ale, reborn. 4% ABV, 500ml dark brown bottle, and I like the label. I do like the label on this. Indie beer, so they're making a point that they're an independent brewery now on the bottle cap. And I also know the brewer, one of the loveliest men you'll ever meet, Buster Grant. So not only did the local community save the brewery, they also installed one of the best brewers of this style of beer, traditional British ales. I don't believe it's a real ale. There's no sediment in the bottom of the glass. So we're going to call it a traditional ale, but one of the most iconic, well-known names in British brewing is Buster Grant. He's a lovely guy. 4% ABV. So, one finger, white head on here, slightly kind of, let's call it ivory, good levels of carbonation, amber coloured beer in the glass. The beer's been out the fridge about 10 minutes, so it's had time to warm up a little bit, just to be able to taste those complex malts. industry beer, independent beer, both with the same name, both Cumberland Ale. What do they look like? Immediately, the beer on the right there's a widget, there's etching on the bottom of this glass, so it's going to give a little bit more carbonation, but immediately it's got a lovely golden hue to it. The Marstons version of this looks a bit kind of hazy and weak looking, doesn't it, compared to the bright amber colour of the independent brewed Cumberland Ale. This will be thoroughly independent in a review. If the industry beer is better, I will tell you, but I think we can all agree that the beer in the glass from the independent Jennings Brewery does look better. So let's get the aroma then on the Carlsberg Marstons version of this. Slightly zesty. Syrup. Brewing syrup. So we're talking glucose syrup in here with a little bit of malted barley aroma and a slightly spicy peppery taste, and it does aroma, and it does have that kind of little zestiness coming through. Independent version, completely different beer. Glucose syrup here, cheap. All malt ale here. The thing with glucose syrup, the more you can recognise it, for me on a personal level, it gives me a rotten headache. If I drink 4 pints of glucose syrup infused beer, I will wake up the next day with a terrible headache. It doesn't agree with me. Let's dive into the Marstons version of the beer. Sweet. It's going to be sweet. It's got glucose syrup in it. A sort of a slight kind of artificial toffee taste. Marstons does a lot of brewing for Aldi. It tastes like one of those cheap Aldi ales you can pick up for about £1 in Aldi. Those kind of like glucose syrup infused cheap. They used to do knockoff versions of Newcastle Brown Ale. They used to do all sorts of different kind of ales. But they do some good beer in Aldi. I like their stouts and their porters, their lagers, their Weiss beers. But when they do brew these kind of contract brewed with Marstons Brewing Company, glucose syrup infused beers, and that tastes exactly like that. There's nothing really going for it. The thing is, when you have a race to the bottom, when you're selling beer for £1, as this is, not only do you ruin the name of the beer, you ruin the name of the brewery, you ruin all of that heritage. People don't see it in the same lights, people don't buy it. Ends up, Marstons Brewing Company, they're scratching their head, Carlsberg Marstons, they're scratching their head and they're thinking, let's just close it down. Let's close it down, sales are declining. If they made a good beer to begin with, maybe they wouldn't have had to close down Jennings Brewery. It's terrible. Sweet, terrible glucose syrup infused beer. Independent stuff. I'd like to say as well, they're based in Cockermouth. So, let's get straight in. We got the aroma earlier on. Brilliant. brilliant. Hoppy, zesty, a biting bitterness on the back end. The people who have made the decision to save this brewery, you can taste the passion in the glass. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the anguish of, can we keep this brewery alive? Can we keep this wonderful traditional building going? You can taste it in the glass of beer. Fantastic drinkability. Lovely grainy malty taste coming through, biscuity and bready. Good mouthfeel, refreshing but slightly creamy and rich too. But it's the hop content that really gets me. That fantastic biting bitterness on the back end, that kind of almost kind of sort of hallertau, stinging nettle, almost Pilsner-esque bitterness to the beer. This is the thing. There's some talented people out there. This situation, you can see it with Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin for me is another tragedy. I remember drinking Hobgoblin when I first got into beer in 2010. And I found that beer absolutely fantastic. Same as the Braxbeer beers. Somewhere along the line, Carlsberg Marstons got into this race to the bottom. This, how can we brew beer as cheap as possible and stick it in the likes of... Now, I've got nothing against home bargains. You can go in home bargains, you can buy some really good beer. But I say it, and I'm going to stick with it. They've stuck their beer in places like home bargains, a race to the bottom, as cheap as they possibly can, and they wonder why the brewery's in so much trouble. This is night and day. They're both supposed to be the same beer. It's night and day. This is full of glucose syrup, cheap, nasty ingredients. I do like the bottle label though. They have kind of like a nice picture of the brewery there on the label. I do like the bottle label. This is magnificent. This is magnificent. I've also got this neck lifter to review. I've got the Castle Bitter to review, and we have another one. I think it's called Cock-a-Hoop, but we got that to do as well. But I'm going to rate this. Let's give you a quick. The iconic beer of the Northwest, Cumberland Ale, has been brewed by Jennings for generations, brewed using the famous Jennings well water and Maris Otter malt, with just a dash of pale chocolate malt to create the deep colour, golden colour. A classic blend of Fuggles, Goldens and Challenger hops give a beautiful fruitiness, hints of subtle spice and the well-rounded bitterness you'd expect from a timeless golden ale. It's brilliant. It's spine-tingly brilliant that they've decided. The people have got together. The power of the people have got together and they've saved this brewery. It's a great beer. I'm going to rate it. I like that enough to give it a Stone the Crows 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. It's back. Cumberland Ale is back. Jennings Brewery is back. That's the message. This stuff, well, you can see why this Marstons Carlsberg version of this Jennings Ale went out of production. Because it's a complete waste of time. 1 out of 10. Glucose infused rubbish. I hope you liked the video. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.